ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವರೆ ಚೆನ್ನೈ Hyderabad Express University Station Netaji forward.
Hello and welcome to Voltas presents Cricbuzz Live. I'm Saiyami Kher. CSK take on KKR at the Chepauk. These two teams have 8 trophies between them. But both these teams seem to have lost a really, really good book called The Winning Way. And they will want to find that book very quickly because they want to get back to the winning ways. Talking about getting back, lots of comebacks today. But the one which is most special to us is Pommie Mbangwa is back in the studio with Harsha Bhogle.
Hey, hello.
We can't wait for the laughter.
Just being nice to you till the guessing game. We don't want you to win that one.
You made it very clear yesterday. You want me to win. I kind of saw you laughing, Saiyami. That's not very nice. I thought you were on my side.
I'm completely on your side. Why I was laughing was I was wondering if Mr. Bhogle is ready with the defense.
No chance. Look at his eyes. No chance.
Because
I mean, you do it in the movies. He can do it in real life. I'm not getting there.
So I was just laughing because of that.
Come on now. No violence, okay? Yeah, no violence. Bhogle, stop it.
But you started very well. Winning Way. Good idea. Good
Winning
name.
Way,
Good
yeah. I was
title.
trying to figure out
Good name, good title.
No, there's someone who's written that book. Who's it?
It's that book has sold so many copies.
Correct.
But they've sold so many copies that CSK and KKR seem to need that copy. So where have the copies gone, Mr. Bhogle?
Are you suggesting that I bought them myself and hid them in a warehouse?
No, they're just, it's such a famous book that is gone all around the world, but these two teams need them.
They need it, CSK need it more than ever. I know you're a little tense today, but CSK need it even more.
Well, CSK needed even more. 1 out of 5, KKR 2 out of 5. We're talking about comebacks. You know, there has to be probably a human being who's stuck on an abandoned island, who doesn't have Wi-Fi, doesn't have humans, maybe just that Wilson volleyball, who doesn't know that MSD is coming back because headlines, social media, the trains, the rickshaw rides, everyone is talking about it. We spoke about it yesterday, but your reactions to the captain coming back?
Look, MSD is larger than life. I mean, they're stating the obvious, but the reaction kind of reminds you, doesn't it? And if you kind of don't get reminded every time that CSK play, wherever it is they play, but particularly when they play at Chepauk and it's time for him to go to bat, even in this season, even last season, in times where they're kind of trying to delay him and hope that others can bat further up and get the job done so that he doesn't have to come and kind of do it himself, they still wait and hope that he's the guy to come in. The fact that Ruturaj Gaikwad is injured is unfortunate for CSK because he is one guy who has form. He's one guy, as far as their batting is concerned, who they would have been looking to try and kind of build upon because it's just about the only thing that's working as far as the batting is concerned. So, yeah, I think that's a worry, a big worry. However, the captaincy of MSD, second to none. Always has been. Don't expect it to be any different this time around. They will need it as a weapon. It would be nice if it was a case of something has happened, the ship is on course, and he just kind of needs to keep it on course. Right now it's off course, and with captaincy, he's got to try and get it on course. That's a big task.
Well, I've said it so many times before. There is Shivaji Ganesan, M.G. Ramachandran, Rajinikanth, MS Dhoni, the 4 genuine stars of Chennai.
Absolutely.
And the only difference is the other 3 acted to a prepared script. Dhoni has to play an unscripted game.
Oh, he writes his own script. That's
Sometimes.
what Dhoni does, yes.
Yeah.
But, you know, I almost couldn't hear what Pommie was saying because I could little bit listen to what's happening at the ground. Dhoni came out at the toss, so no one could hear anything because it was Dhoni at the toss.
Can you imagine being Ruturaj Gaikwad? You've been appointed captain, you're doing a decent job, you're this very dignified, decent fellow who's trying his best, and he gets injured, and it sparks off celebrations. Can you imagine being Ruturaj Gaikwad today?
No, but Ruturaj also put out this little post saying that, you know, it's unfortunate that he's injured, but this uncapped wicket keeper will do the needful. The uncapped wicket keeper.
The only uncapped captain in this year's IPL.
Yes, we know what all he can do, but he's come out of the toss and Ajinkya Rahane won the toss. He's decided to bowl first, but Captain Cool Dhoni said that we would have liked to bat first. So a brave decision there for KKR.
I don't know. It's the same surface on which they played against Mumbai Indians. When everyone was just coming to terms, not quite in the tournament yet. And Mumbai made 150 odd and CSK huffed and puffed and got it in the last over.
Yes.
Now, obviously, there was dew yesterday. But the dew has been capricious. You never know when it's coming and when it's not coming. Most days it hasn't arrived.
Yes.
So if there's no dew on a slowish surface, Chennai wouldn't mind. Maybe that's how Chennai see it. Maybe Ajinkya Rahane thinks if there's dew, we can chase it down, get into the side very quickly.
You know, Pommie, do you think those alarm bells are ringing in the Chennai camp? Because you said that ship has gone out of course. It almost feels that ship has a little hole and there's water dripping into that ship. That's what it feels like, doesn't it?
Not quite hit the iceberg or whatever, and certain to sink. No, I don't think yet. I don't think you can say that yet. Of course, it's not an ideal position, but you just never know in IPL. We've said this so many times. First, we've got to get to the mathematical part where it becomes really, really difficult. Ideally, you want to start well, but if you don't, and if there was a guy who could help with one facet of the game, and I'm talking particularly captaincy, who would do that, this is the guy you would select, right? So perhaps the confidence and energy of the team is different just simply because there is a change. Sometimes you need a change of scenery and luck and everything else to be able to reset and start again. If you're Chennai as a supporter, if you're as a player, you can do that. You can kind of, right, let's draw a line here. Let's start again. What are we doing? How are we doing it? And let's try and do it to the best of our ability. And this is not to say they haven't before. It's just not worked, right? And perhaps it can work as you go forward. Still a difficult position to be in.
It's just that MS Dhoni is not wearing glasses. He doesn't have a scar. And he's not waving a wand saying, revital us, table topper us.
Well done there. I'm impressed with the Harry Potter knowledge. Well done. Have you read all the books?
I went till about 4, then it got too big and too high.
Well, let's see if Dhoni gets
the first
that.
15 pages of volume 1 were some of the best writing I've ever read.
Well, like we said, Dhoni will want to rewrite this script, maybe even better than the first 15 pages of the Harry Potter. But you said they need to restart. For them to restart, what does he do with Ruturaj, the batter not there? Who's going to fill those big shoes? Because he's the one who's been getting those runs the last 2 seasons.
I would have thought Tripathi at 3, not as open, because finally, after a long time, they got a start. Ruturaj and Conway, they put on almost 59-60 in the power play, which is what they desperately need, given that the middle order has been very, very short of firepower. So that is what I would go, but I suspect you know the answer and you're just playing along.
No, we're playing along because you seem to always know the answers. You seem to have the answers. We'll have a look at that team. They have gone ahead with Rahul Tripathi and they've also got Kamboj in.
I'm very happy with that. I like Anshul Kamboj. I was wondering why they're not playing him all this time. So they've gone Anshul Kamboj, but hang on. This is
their batting
side.
Yes.
Correct, their batting side. So they'll have Patirana coming back. Khalil, Kamboj, Noor, Ashwin and Jadeja plus Patirana. So they're not short on bowling. How's the batting look? Let's look back at the batting.
Yeah, you know, at the start of the season, what baffled me is if you have something that's working, which is Ruturaj up at the top, you want to keep that going. You don't want to create more problems, you know. And it's not, you don't do it with a view to create problems because you think it's going to work. However, if you have a combination up at the top that goes really well, you want to start with that combination, sort out whatever else. And when I think of Tripathi and think of how he's gone in the tournament over the years, actually it is at number 3. You know, pushing him up is to kind of ask him, and I was talking in another game saying, we can take for granted that aggression is the way this game, or aggressively, is the way this game is played. So if you then have to go and tell someone to play aggressively, then they're supposedly going to try and be more aggressive. But there's no need, particularly Tripathi, you don't need to tell him to play more shots. He plays enough. That's just the way he goes. So walk in at 3, do what's required, hit boundaries where they're available. Yes, create some, but with a measure of control, some cautious aggression from the batters, because with the way they've been going about it, trying to be ultra aggressive, it's not worked at all. So yeah, hopefully it's kind of, even if in a time where kind of ultra modern batting says go at it and go at it and go at it, they might just go traditional a little bit, and it might help them to set a stall out and then be able to launch from there.
But Tripathi at 3, or do you all want to see that opening combination change again?
No, I'm happy Tripathi at 3. Doesn't matter if both are left-handed. Both, they had a good partnership last time. I know Ruturaj would have been happy to open the batting, but there's no point going there now that ship has sailed. Now he's not available. Now you look at who's best qualified. And I think those two are best qualified to take advantage of that power play, because Tripathi will play the same. As Pommie said, I've seen Tripathi bat at 3 and he's batted exactly the same way.
Yes.
So I'm quite happy with Tripathi at 3. I think their problem is what comes after. Vijay Shankar, Shivam Dube, Jadeja, Dhoni. They're not hitting enough sixes. They're striking 120 or thereabouts in the middle overs. So they're not getting that aggression. So for them, maxing the power play is even more important, or play a 155, 160 game.
So that you're saying that should be their strategy if that's the batting line.
They need to go harder in the middle.
Yes.
And they've really got only one big hitter in the middle. I love the idea of Dhoni batting at 5. So I won't even be surprised if they push. It's not a bad idea to push Jadeja to 4.
Interesting.
Because he's not someone who comes in and hammers straight away.
Yes.
And then use Dube as a tactical switch. But I know that's not going to happen, so it's okay.
Well, we'll see with the MSD what kind of things move around, because you know how he comes out with these master strokes. So we never know what comes around when he captains. But talking about KKR, they're 2 out of 5. That last game is really going to hurt, isn't it? Because they were so close, 4 runs away. But do you think it's a team that will bounce back strong, and especially coming into Chepauk? So you think they'll bounce back strong?
Yeah, look, I look at, whilst we look at CSK and we say, oh, it's not working and the ship's not on course and there are too many things to try and fix, I look at KKR and I go, all the ingredients are there.
Yes.
They look fine. As a side, you look at them and you go, okay, yeah, Quinton de Kock at the top, and he's okay. And with Narine, that's how they've gone. That's why they won last season, because that worked up at the top. Russell to kind of float, and depending on what kind of setup they have in terms of a base, he can go in and whack it. You look at Ajinkya, Rahane and Venkatesh Iyer. All those in a lineup, and young Ankrish, he can play as well. So if you lose early ones, those guys can kind of repair and do a decent job of that. Then your power comes in Rinku as well as Russell. So no issues as far as that is concerned. With the bowling side of things, you look at it as well, ball moving around, that's what you want. Just get it away from the middle of the bat. Not great pace. I know that Spencer Johnson can get it up there, but nobody is sort of running up and bowling 150 clicks. However, they're clever bowlers. I mean, I suppose Harshit Rana can get it up as well.
Yes.
It's a good group. And then go to the spin with Narayan and Chakravarti. All the ingredients are there. There's absolutely no issue whatsoever. I would like to see them settle on who they feel is their team. They're missing little things here and there, not quite executing. One blowout, I think it was against Mumbai Indians, where they had a blowout. But other than that, it's just slightly wrong here and slightly wrong there. And yes, it hurts, but perhaps stick with it, because you've got it covered. Keep changing. What was it, Mo and Ali that they have on the side? They sometimes bring it in. If it's going to spin, if they turn up at Chennai, yes, play him. If it's not, don't play him. If it's going to be a quick bowler, and yeah, they look all right. I don't think they look a team that's struggling per se. I think they look a team that's looking to try and get the wheels going nicely, get it all oiled, and come the final stakes, they might well be there.
Yeah, they lose today. They're 2-4. Chennai win today. They are 2-4.
Yes.
And suddenly you're saying, hang on, they're both sailing alongside.
Well, you spoke about Moeen Ali. He is in, and Spencer Johnson's out. We'll have a look at the playing 11 for KKR. So Moeen Ali comes in because of the track. Harsha
Could well be.
expecting a
Could
slow
well be.
turnaround.
Understands the conditions very well. Can float. They want his hitting ability. Vaibhav Arora is in very good form. So they'd want Vaibhav Arora to bowl 3 in the power play. Maybe get 1 from Russell, 2 from Rana. Or maybe try out Varun Chakravarti early. Or maybe, given that there's 2 left-handers, even go Moeen Ali early.
Yeah, that's more likely.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah,
I
go
think-
Moeen Ali early.
Correct. I think and he's done that in the past, right? They're more likely to go Moeen Ali early and then see
Because
what-
they like a little bit of Harshit Rana at the back end.
Yeah.
So that is the way they'll structure it. If it doesn't work with Moeen Ali, they're fine. And I agree with Pommie, just the batting order. Sometimes you say, right, I think Rinku can bat at the back. Krish is good in the front, so let me go with Krish. Now, just say Rinku Singh is my star batter. Where does he want to bat? Fix that first, then adjust around. So I think Rinku at 6, but if they've got time, even push him up to 5 and just give him that slot. Last year, he batted 100 balls, 113 balls last year. This year is similar.
No, this year you send him to bat at 8 is like putting on dancing shoes once the party is over. So he's coming in at 8.
You've got dancing shoes?
I know you've got the dancing shoes.
Well,
right?
she's telling us she's got dancing shoes. We like it.
No, we know the moves that you've got, but the moves that Rinku's got, we couldn't see them because he comes in so late.
Yeah, it's a bit like, I'm trying to think which other team does the same sort of, it's a bit like Hitmeyer.
Yeah, very much so.
Every season, everyone's
Yes.
going, can't these guys play? Tim David is another one, isn't he? Where every season, for whatever team they play, you're sort of going, are they facing enough deliveries? Could they do more damage? And you put them in what look like impossible situations, and they get you out of jail. And oh, wow, he's amazing. But if you get him in earlier, maybe you don't get into those. I do think... I did think that with Nitish Rana gone, he might be the guy who kind of slots in there and he has that bit more time. So a definite spot. And then what you have as floating, or who you have as floating, is actually Andre Russell, right? Because he can still...
Yeah.
Because they've got the luxury of 2 of those
Yes.
kinds of batters who can finish innings off and who can be called finishers, right? He's used Russell sometimes when the task is required for you to go for a long time and hitting for a long time, they send him. It's seldom that they actually send Rinku, right? So yeah, I think use him as an actual batter. Let's see how he does go, and perhaps you reap from sowing that.
My gut feel is 10th over, doesn't matter how many wickets you lost, Rinku's next. And 14th over, you cross, doesn't matter who's next, Andre Russell goes in.
Well, they will be batting later on, so we'll see what they do. This mystery of Rinku, why he comes at 8, is a mystery which
Won't happen again.
Which we haven't been able to solve. Another mystery which people can't solve is Varun Chakravarti. He'll be coming in and bowling. His mystery is really, really spinning that web and all the players, all the teams that he's playing opposite, and it's a homecoming for him as well, Harsha.
The moment he said the big change for him came when he went from side spin to overspin. And he bowled a lot in the TNPL. He went and bowled a lot in the Mushtaq Ali. He bowled a lot in Vijay Hazare, where he's bowling 10 overs.
Yes.
And he said the standard there was so high that he could experiment against really good batting. And he said, I realized, because he didn't have a great season 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And he lost his place in the Indian side. He said, I discovered that if I was bowling this, that
more top spin
they
is
were just
what he's
hitting him
doing?
through the line. So he said, I realized I had to go more this way. And since then, look, he's the leading wicket taker in the IPL. He's come off a magnificent Champions Trophy. And he's almost your number one. He's almost your number one spinner in there. I mean, that Siraj is there is a topic completely different, which we will
Yes.
talk on when Siraj is playing, because I think we don't give him the credit.
Yes.
But Varun Chakravarti, and especially because Sunil Narayan's going through a slight rough patch, so I think it becomes even more important.
I think we tend to, and Chakravarti is absolutely fantastic. I mean, absolutely no doubt. And in the times where some of these bowlers don't quite do what is the best of them, it's because they're that good that so much attention is paid to them. And when so much attention is paid to them, what then happens is teams have recognized that they're a threat, and so have to somewhat defend against being bowled out by these bowlers, right? So that happens, and it happens in strategic batting meetings and kind of team meetings where you think, well, if he doesn't get wickets, or if he goes at 6s and 7s, we're still okay, as long as he doesn't get us out. Because if he does, he can run through us, right? And so you look at the numbers, and if you kind of cold look at one player, there's a problem there. But if you look at what the partnerships are, so for instance, if you're looking at KKR and you look at Tripathi and Narine as a combination, not singularly. So this season you're looking, you're saying, oh, Narine maybe not doing as much as, but at the other end, what's going on? And together as a couple, what's happening is in that part of the game, they're actually winning, right? And it's Chakravarti who's getting the wickets. Form sometimes goes awry, and it might well do that. And as teams, they're quite happy to have what's happening with this couple that generally wins us games.
Yes.
And if it's going well, no trouble. They keep it together. Just like opening batters, when they're able to give you starts, you look at them as a couple, because if you separate them, you're in danger of kind of upsetting the chemistry, upsetting the roles, and someone else coming in to try and sort of outgun and outdo the other guy, and it doesn't quite work. So, yeah, I'm more in favor of looking at all these guys as what role they play in tandem than singularly.
We've always spoken about how bowlers hunt in packs, but Harsha, just a little more on Varun. You were talking about how just playing a lot of domestic cricket helped him. The numbers are doing the talking. The last 2 seasons for him have been fantastic. But what is it about Varun that why is he so tough to pick? Is it that he has a very quick arm action, or what is it that makes him so tough to pick?
He's varying his pace very well. But all these bowlers, whether it's Narine, whether it's Ashwin, all the bowlers, they have great control over length. He's not putting the ball in a place where you can hit it. Why is Rashid struggling this year? Because he's struggling with getting it in his area more often. So I think in spite of becoming a slightly different kind of bowler, he's still pitching it where he wants to. The moment he goes fuller, they'll be able to hit him out of the ground. So because he's difficult to read, he cannot bowl in their hitting arc. And I think like with all great bowlers, he's bowling a gorgeous length.
You know, I was watching some video where they were talking about why, they can't pick him, and it's also because he's got a very awkward bounce, they say. Does that come also because of just the action, that awkward bounce, or why does that happen?
The overspin that everyone's talking about is about bounce, more than about turn, right? And in order for him to get bounce, in order for him to kind of deceive batters, he's then kind of not quite throwing it up, because if you do, they'll get you and they'll whack it out the ground. But he's getting at more dip, probably. He's probably getting the ball to just drift a little bit. With all of that said, what's happened prior is also an influence on what must happen, right? If you can't just play him out and you're looking to try and go at him, there's going to be a problem. And because he can take the ball this way and the other way as well, there's so many ways in which you could get out to him. And if you're coming at him, he's better. Most of these spinners, you ask about any of these spinners, you ask them what they want. They want you to kind of sit at the crease and play, or do they want you to come at them? If you're coming at them, they've got more of a chance. And I reckon that's
they bowl in the middle overs. They could just lock the middle overs. I mean, Dhoni's numbers against Sunil Narine and Varun Chakravarti have been much talked about over the years, much documented. But those two get going and those two hit their rhythm, you're suddenly looking at an 8-over jam in between, much like the Elphinstone Bridge when you come here.
Well, which is going to get demolished soon, but...
It's typical. You demolish the bridge, then think, okay, right, what am I going to do now?
How do we cross?
And you can't even get to it because it's not there. So if those two get going on this track, if this track is what KKR think it is, and everyone thinks it is, those two bowl those 8 overs in the middle, it's going to be. And KKR always play a team of 10. You remember when Yusuf Pathan was doing so well, they always play a team of 10 with a floater. So Ramandeep hasn't done much this year, but he's still in there.
Yes.
So I don't think he'll bat at 5, but...
But, you were talking about how that middle is kind of choked by both of these people. Something that CSK is struggling with is up top. So before they get to that middle, that up top has really troubled CSK. The power play, just look at these numbers, Pommie. They're last on that table there. They have hit only 3 sixes in the power play this season. And the game's evolved so much. People have become so aggressive. So you think that they are falling really short in the power play?
Yeah, they are. And it's not to say you should hit sixes per se, right? If they had hit just 3 sixes and their average score was middling, we'd still be fine. But it compounds the issue. The fact that they're not power players. Sorry, I didn't mean that actually. they're more touch players, aren't they? And they're looking to try and get a start in quite orthodox fashion. When you think about who hit sixes for CSK, and if I asked...
Goes to Shivam.
Actually, well, early doors, that's with spinners mainly, right? And Shivam is an obvious one. But the other guy who does that is Ruturaj. That's who hits sixes for them. And he hits them easily and bats at a fair clip. The others don't necessarily. They hit the ball on the ground more than they hit it up in the air. Whether you're talking of Rachin Ravindra, whether you're talking of Devon Conway, a guy who's probably got that job is Rahul Tripathi, because in times past that was him, right? Like get under it and get it out the ground. I genuinely think that the necessity for ramparts, to kind of bed in and have some sort of a start is the way they've got to go. Cautious aggression, get fours and make sure that you're up further than 48 as an average, right? And assess and then back your power at the back end. And I know that's kind of more traditional than it is modern, but I think that's the way that they've got to go because it's not working.
Here's a quick thought. You can hit the sixes any time in the innings, don't you?
Correct.
What's easier to hit in the power play? The fours.
Yeah.
So maybe you should be looking how many fours are they hitting in the power plays because that is what is easier to hit. Once you hit a gap, it's 4. So it doesn't matter if they're hitting 3 sixes if they're hitting 10 fours.
But you also, and the other thing, to go away from what you're after per se, just look at your personnel. Your personnel have to play like themselves. They can't play like other teams. So what you do is what you should do as well as possible. And in that way, believe that you're able to effect victory that way. Because if you play like you're somebody else, you're not as good when you're playing like somebody else. You're only as good when you're playing like you. And these guys who I'm describing as touch players are fantastic 20-20 players. And they're able to get the ball off to the fence regularly and be able to still strike at a decent clip and make use of that power play.
All right, I want to just quickly have a look at those teams again because there are a few changes in both the teams. CSK first, Rahul Tripathi is in and Kamboj is in. This is their batting 11. Quickly then for their impact list as well. The impacts here, Patirana should be coming in for their impacts. We'll have a look at KKR's playing.
Most likely, unless they're in a situation where they've lost a lot of wickets and they need Overton to go and hit some big ones.
Yes. I mean, they'll be hoping that doesn't happen for them today. With KKR, Moeen Ali is that one change that they have for Spencer Johnson. And they have their impact list in which Angrish Raghuvanshi has been coming in. So probably that's what we will see today.
Almost certainly.
Yes.
Almost certainly, yeah.
Harsha, should we see what we don't have answers to ever? Now that Pommie is here, he might...
So I'll tell you, I've got a deal. We'll give Pommie the answer to the joy factor as long as he doesn't get the answer on the guessing game. See, desperate times call for desperate measures.
Have you been struggling? I mean, you've been sledging people who are not even
I've been
here.
sledging myself.
Oh, you've been sledging me too. You've jumped straight at me. Is that because you're struggling?
I'm struggling big time, not even trying to hide it.
Okay, well.
But I'm a bit like KKR. I'm losing by 2 runs, 3 runs.
Yeah, he's been very, very close. So he's been playing a good game. He's just been very close and missing. But I might tell you that everyone who's come in on their first day has gotten it correct. That's been the record this IPL.
Well done. Okay, let's wish Pommie well.
But before we get to that, we have to have a look at joy factor.
Yeah, cool.
Because that's something we do and we don't have answers to, but let's have a look at it. In Test cricket, if Chandrasekhar, Atapattu, James Anderson, Walsh are among the players in the second place with 4, who leads with 7? These questions are just getting more complicated by the day.
I think I've got an idea, but they're starting play, so we'll talk about it later.
All right. I like
Well,
that move of...
I think I know what that is.
I didn't even get the question, so we'll just move to the predictions
Yeah.
because at least that is a guessing game. Pommie, the guessing game, why don't you go first?
What am I guessing?
CSK batting first.
Yes.
The score, the 20-over point.
That's
First
20
innings,
overs.
first innings score.
First inning score. My goodness. I did explain to you that it's not something that occupies my brain before
But you
I
like to
turn-
win.
I do like to win. Everybody likes to win. It doesn't matter who it is. You want to win. Okay. CSK will be better today. I'm going to go for 177.
You've done well. You've done well. I was about there. I might even go 173. Okay, I'll go 185. Come on. 185.
Ooh, 177, 185.
Got it wrong. It's okay.
But I have no idea what the pitch is. If it's slow, is it turning?
Nobody knows.
Slow. Can
Nobody
I change?
knows. You can change.
I'll go
of
back.
course.
173. Okay.
173, 177. I'll go with 183 then.
Okay.
You don't really guess, do you? You
I
just
don't.
calculate according to whoever's sitting there. And what
I mean,
they're
I'm the one who's going last, so I don't have too much of a choice, right?
Next time you go first, okay?
All right. Thank you, Pommie.
Okay.
We will be ordering pomelo salad for Pommie. That's what was decided.
Pomelo gets pomelo. Okay.
Some nice salad for you and some chicky for you. But we haven't wished our senior man, Gaurav Kapoor. It's his birthday. Wish you a very happy birthday.
Is he senior or is he still very young?
He is very young, but he's my senior.
Oh, okay.
So I
Right.
call him the senior man.
You must be very, very, very young then.
He's my senior man. So, Gaurav, wish you a very happy birthday. There'll be lots of cake cutting, but it's also Radhika Rahane's birthday. So, she will be hoping that she gets a birthday gift from her husband, unless, of course, the magician MSD has other plans. We'll find out and give you all the updates, the 10-over point. Thank you so much for watching. Voltas presents Cricbuzz Live.
दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವ ರೈಲಲ್ಲಿ Hyderabad Express Station, Netaji Obot.